JBN, we keep you informed. I am Michelle Jones, and in the news, Kingston Technical student charged for stabbing death of her schoolmate. The 17-year-old Kingston Technical High School student was taken into custody for the stabbing death of her schoolmate, Michonne Campbell, has been charged with murder. She was charged Monday afternoon following a question and answer session. The teenager is being represented by attorney Kimberly Whitaker. She is understandably devastated at the turn of events, Whitaker said. She'll appear before the Corporate Area Criminal Court on Friday at 10 a.m. to answer to the charges. The matter is not as clear-cut as it seems. On Friday when it goes before the court, there are some legal issues that will come up. Then we'll have an understanding of the statements that are before the courts, Whitaker explained. Elderly man shot dead in Long Bay, St. James. The St. James police are probing the shooting death of an elderly man in Long Bay, St. James on Monday morning. He has been identified as 63-year-old Duke Palmer, otherwise called Touch of Gold. Reports are that about 9 a.m., Palmer was sitting on old tires in the area when he was attacked. A white Honda Fit motor car reportedly drove up, and the occupants reportedly opened gunfire, hitting him multiple times. Palmer died on the spot. Turks and Caicos governor fingers Jamaican gangs for escalating crime situation. Turks and Caicos governor Nigel John Dacking said the security situation in the British Overseas Territory is related to Jamaican gangs and serious transnational crime rather than international terrorism. It remains ongoing and it will not stop unless we stop it, Dacking told the House of Assembly as he made reference to the surging gang violence there. Dacking said on Sunday night, following an attack in Long Bay against those who were allegedly associated with local drug dealers and when an innocent visitor from the United States was killed, a police tactical unit on patrol and deployed with the express mission to arrest violent criminals intercepted the assailants. He said the police vehicle was hit by multiple strikes from high-velocity rounds. Our officer was not killed is remarkable. Our tactical unit returned fire, and while it is still to be confirmed, and I may need to revise this, we believe one of the deceased, whose body was dropped in dockyard by his fellow gang members, had been shot in the forehead as a result of our officers returning accurate fire under extraordinary pressure, he said, giving a background to the surging criminal activity in the country. The governor said that several months ago, 2 local gangs lost their leadership. He said one extremely violent local gang leader was shot dead by police while resisting arrest. The other, an Asian gang leader, who the police had made 4 separate attempts to arrest in the shanty areas of Rummy Yard, was killed by one of his own gang before he could be arrested, he said. The governor said that the vacuum and confusion this created allowed a predominantly Jamaican gang with a relatively small footprint in the Turks and Caicos to reinforce some Jamaica. They had anyway been seeking to kill one of their local rivals, Dacking said, reminding legislators of the 3 days of shooting in 5 Keys during April as this initial feud played out. Using military-grade high-velocity weaponry, the vast majority of the murders in September have been targeted and linked to this enlarged and now emboldened gang, trying to remove who they believe are the local drug and arms smuggling competition. Those local criminals, already established here, are fighting back. He said while not everyone killed has been involved in criminality, many who have been murdered have been linked to criminality and a spiral of reprisal killings, including to avenge some innocent as well as criminal victims, has been the result. Some who know that they are being targeted have left the islands. Some of those who have been murdered were themselves murderers. Some, having executed their crime, have slipped away through fast boat. When members of the media ask how many have been prosecuted, this is a background the police are operating against, said the governor. The governor said the police's every presence in 5 Keys resulted in the gang relocating to Dockyard, and that significant policing operations in that unregulated development saw the police go through the doors of over 30 properties where they came under fire from third parties. Several days ago, there was an exchange of fire with one Jamaican who dropped his weapon but escaped. On Saturday night, a high-speed police pursuit resulted in 3 arrests and recovered weaponry, he said. Cashier charged after $4 million swindled from Chinese wholesale. A 31-year-old woman was arrested last week after more than $4 million was misappropriated from a Chinese wholesale in Maypen, Clarendon. Kadisha Chambers, otherwise called Disha, from Montclair in the parish, was charged following an audit at the business place. Chambers, who worked as a cashier with the wholesale, has been charged with larceny as a servant, possession of criminal property, and engaging in a transaction that involves criminal property. It was reported that the businessman hired someone to conduct an audit at the wholesale on January 19, 2022. In the audit, which covered the period January 2020 to January 7, 2022, duplicate receipts were observed to have been tendered by Chambers, while original receipts were handed in by other cashiers. The audit uncovered that these duplicate receipts were non-genuine transactions, as they were not traceable to the credit card system report for the days under review. Likewise, the originals of these credit card slips were already included in other cashier balancing reports. The audit discovered that $4,308,371.31 was misappropriated from the wholesale, and the proprietor gave the police a statement. On September 23, 2022, a further statement was recorded from the businessman, and on September 27, 2022, search warrants were executed at Chambers' house in Montclair and a shop said to be owned by the accused. She was then arrested and escorted to the Mapping police station, where she was charged. Tropical battery workers in alleged $3 million theft scheme remanded. 4 tropical battery workers appeared in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court to answer to larceny charges after the alleged uncovering of a scheme, which ultimately led to unsuspecting customers of the company purchasing bad batteries. 3 of the suspects, Jamel Reed, Christopher Robinson, and Carlog, were directly employed to the company, while Collington Dale Morgan was a security guard stationed at the location. The court was told that the management of the company started an investigation after they received a number of complaints from customers that the batteries they purchased were bad. This information prompted a review of the CCTV at the location, and according to court documents, it was discovered that the men were removing the old batteries and placing them among the new battery stock. There's a system in place. The new batteries are not to be placed with other kinds of batteries, but among these 4 men, they have an ingenious method, which is to clean off the old batteries so they look brand new. They'll put them in the area where the new batteries are kept, and then they'll take the new batteries and pass them on to some conspicuous person, the prosecution told Senior Parish Judge Lauren Cole Montague. The scheme reportedly cost Tropical Battery $3 million. The men were approached by police officers on September 14 and arrested on fraud-related offenses. They did not enter a plea when they appeared in court. They were remanded and told to return to court on October 4. Mavado to no fate on October 13. Us West Sinner Smith, attorney at law representing Mavado, will have to wait until October 13 to find out whether his client will be allowed to testify via video link in a $30 million fraud case against this barred attorney at law, Jennifer Macedo. Mavado is the complainant in the case. The case was adjourned when the matter appeared before the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court in Halfway Tree last Friday. Nothing happened in court last week. There was an adjournment, and the court indicated that the prosecutor was engaged in another matter in the Home Circuit Court, Sidney Smith said. The case was postponed until October 13. The attorney at law had been awaiting information from the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, ODPP, with regards to outstanding warrants for his client. In July, the ODPP had been set to submit an application seeking approval from the court for Mavado, who resides in the U.S., to give testimony via video link in a high-profile $30 million fraud case in which Entertainer is the complainant. However, approval can only be granted if Mavado, whose given name is David Brooks, has no outstanding warrants in Jamaica. But his lawyer believes that the hullabaloo about Mavado's testimony is a storm in a teacup, as his client's testimony is not critical to the successful prosecution of the case. The issue with Mavado's testimony is a storm in a teacup. Mavado is not a critical witness. The lawyer and the other party, who paid over the money to Macedo, the critical witnesses in the case, Sidney Smith said. In the meantime, Jennifer Macedo, who has been disbarred, is accused of defrauding the Entertainer in a real estate deal. It is alleged that in April 2018, Mavado was introduced to a property at Governor Terrace, Kingston 8, and started making arrangements to purchase the property through his attorney, Tamika Harris. Macedo reportedly professed to have been given permission to oversee the sale as the owner was incarcerated overseas. Mavado later reportedly paid Macedo $30.7 million for the property and signed the sale agreement and a document given in possession. However, it was later discovered that the property was not for sale and that the owner was not incarcerated. The owner of the property further indicated that he did not know Macedo and never gave her permission to sell his property. Mavado was reportedly reimbursed $7 million. After several attempts to recover his money failed, the entertainer reported the matter to the police, and Macedo was arrested on charge with obtaining money by false pretense. February 2023 for review of ruling that Royal Reid and Fritz Pinnock have case to answer. A court ruling that former Education Minister Royal Reid and his co-accused have a case to answer over their alleged corrupt actions is to be reviewed by the Supreme Court on February 7 next year. The judicial review date was disclosed this morning when Reid and his co-accused, former Caribbean Maritime University President Fritz Pinnock, Reid's wife Sharon, their daughter Sherelle, and Jamaica Labour Party Councillor Kim Brown Lawrence appeared in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court. Chief Parish Judge Chester Crooks had ruled last February that the accused were implicated in a multi-million-dollar fraud case and a case to answer. The judge's ruling was in response to a preliminary objection raised by Reid and Pinnock on the basis that the charges against them should be nullified, as the Financial Investigations Division FID, which leveled the charges, had no authority in law to arrest or charge them. Reid and Pinnock took issue with the decision after Crooks declared that he was recusing himself from the trial because of a perceived conflict of interest and sought a judicial review. It was later revealed that the conflict was in relation to the judge's attendance at Monroe College while Reid was head boy. In the meantime, the court was also informed today that the FID has been granted permission to appeal the decision of Supreme Court Justice Andrea Pettigrew Collins, who had ruled that she had no authority to overturn or vary the decision of her colleague, Justice Courtney Day, who had stayed the trial. Justice Day stalled the trial in June 2021 after Reid and Pinnock sought leave for judicial review of Crooks' decision. One of the FID's main arguments is that halting the proceedings has delayed the preparatory work needed to get the case ready for trial. Reid, Pinnock, and their co-accused were arrested by law enforcement agencies in 2019 in connection with a major fraud and corruption probe by the FID involving transactions at the CMU. The charges include conspiracy to defraud, misconduct in a public officer common law, and breaches of the Proceeds of Crime Act. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.